Welcome back to Peer-Guided DBT Lessons, provided by DBT Skills Application, Peers Helping Peers. This week's lesson, marked 2-5 in our Distress Tolerance module, we'll be looking at accept skills. Please keep in mind that we're simply peers helping peers, working together to bring about more peaceful, constructive, and ultimately happier lives. In other words, a life worth living. So what exactly are the distress tolerance accept skills? Well, accept is an acronym for a set of distraction skills which can be useful during a crisis. With Wise Mind accepts, with distraction, by deliberately turning your attention away from the crisis, we can distract through A, for activities, C, for contributing, C, for comparisons, E for emotions, that's opposite emotions, P for push away, T for thoughts, and S for sensations, all spelling the acronym accepts. Starting with the letter A for activities. Sometimes the most effective means to give our minds a break from stress-inducing stimuli is to simply get our bodies moving. Engaging in activities, that means any activity that gets us moving, will draw our attention to the activity at hand, rewarding us with distraction from our intense distressing emotions. It's important that we each spend a little time in preparation ahead of time. Consider what you're able to do and make a list in advance of activities you can choose from when you're in the heat of the moment. We put together a little chart on the right-hand side here of some ideas of what you might look at doing for non-destructive distractions from distress. The first column is hobbies. You might want to paint a picture or learn to paint. How about playing the piano or learn to play the piano? Organize pictures, take pictures, learn to develop film. And what is your addition? How about exercise? Go for a walk, play frisbee, dribble a basketball, train a dog, play with a cat, swim, dance, and your addition. Next, interpersonal. Call a friend, visit a friend, write a blog, share a movie, share a picnic, share a game, dance with another. What is your addition? How about tasks? Wash some dishes, organize cabinets, put away laundry, household shopping, grocery shopping, organize the closet, make a bed. And what is your addition? Continuing with A for activity choice list. First of all, hobbies. Be creative with hobbies. Learn something new. What about exercise? You can combine physical activity with an enjoyable action. Chores. Put your physical activity to practical use. Accomplish while distracting. Interpersonal. Share your activity with another person. Interact without discussing distress. Can any of these activities be combined to concentrate your distraction? Work on a hobby with another. Dance while doing chores. What about singing while cleaning? Although it can be difficult to motivate our bodies into motion, activity can be an impactful and immediate intervention. Next, we can distract by contributing. Any activity that primarily serves others. Make something for someone. Volunteer. Help someone with a chore. Listen to someone else's problems. Write to someone who is lonely. Doing for another is more effective at distracting than an activity for yourself. Next, we have distract by comparisons. Without ignoring your own crisis, compare your situation to others who are in a worse situation than your own. This may bring your crisis severity down a notch to a level where you're better able to cope with it. Without ignoring your current crisis, compare your crisis to a time in your life that you were doing worse than now. While you will need to validate your current emotions, this can help you remember that you were able to survive worse. Next, we have distract with opposite emotions. When we get distressed, one or more negative emotions dominate the scene. Think of an opposing positive emotion, then try to activate that feeling through actions. If angry, do something kind for another. If scared, watch a soothing movie with a happy ending. If sad, listen to upbeat music. Next, we have distract by pushing away. This means that you decide something cannot be solved or dealt with right now. Open your mind to imagery and put a protective barrier between you and the crisis, between yourself and your emotions, thoughts, or situation. You might try to push away by imagining that you're turning down the volume or shrinking the value of the problem, or if needed, even turning it off for a while. You can push away an emotion by imagining that you put it in a chest. Then you can picture yourself going with your chest, locked with a timed lock, to another room and putting it on the highest shelf out of sight for now. Be sure to use a time-release lock to remind you that at a later time, when you are better equipped to deal with the distress this crisis is causing, you can return to open it to effectively cope. You might try to push away by compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing is done by blocking the worrisome thoughts out for the time being. Schedule a time in the future when it would be possible to take an action towards changing the cause of it and move on to something you could focus on that would be productive. Any action towards a solution can be taken when it becomes possible, even if it can only be done in small increments. Anytime we open a compartment to think about again, we should give it full focus for a short period of time, then close the door again and move on to the next compartment. Choose to only focus on one thing at a time. In some cases, a distressing thought should be permanently banished from the mind. If there is no possible action I could take that would make a difference, either now or in the future, then it's time to let that thought go. One visual method that makes this a little easier would be to write in as much detail as possible what you're thinking about that is causing you such distress. Once you have put it into words, tear the paper into shreds or burn it, demonstrating our power to push away those thoughts that serve no purpose. If it crawls back into our mind, we need to repeat that action. It might be helpful to keep paper and matches at hand. Perhaps this story will help put holding on to a worrisome thought into perspective. A psychologist walked around a room while teaching stress management to an audience. As she raised a glass of water, everyone expected they'd be asked the half empty or half full question. Instead, with a smile on her face, she inquired, "How heavy is this glass of water?" Answers called out ranged from 8 ounces to 20 ounces. She replied, "The absolute weight doesn't matter. It depends on how long I hold it. If I hold it for a minute, it's not a problem. If I hold it for an hour, I'll have an ache in my arm. If I hold it for a day, my arm will feel numb and paralyzed. In each case, the weight of the glass doesn't change, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it becomes. She continued, the stresses and worries in life are like that glass of water. Think about them for a while and nothing happens. Think about them for a bit longer and they begin to hurt. And if you think about them all day long, you will feel paralyzed, incapable of doing anything. Remember to put the glass down. Next, we can push away by imagining there is a wall between you and the problem or distressing situation, so that you may be aware of it, but you are cut off from it. In some situations, it may be best to physically leave the situation for a period of time to give yourself time to re-regulate your emotions. In others, it might be most effective to simply walk away. If the distressing situation is one that is volatile and is dangerous or unhealthy, the most effective alternative may be to remove yourself from it altogether. Next, we have distract with thoughts. The idea is to fill your brain with other thoughts so there is no room left to think about the crisis. For example, count backwards from 100 by sevens. Say the alphabet using every other letter. Work a puzzle. Recite as many different DBT skills that you can remember. As we continue to distract with thoughts, whenever we find ourselves in an overwhelming or intense emotional state, we're under the control of emotion mind. While moving from there to wise mind would be the best option to relieve our distress, it's not always possible. If we need to relieve intense emotions, we may find it easier to move our mind state into reasonable mind, to move ourselves from our distressing emotional state. We can use our cognitive abilities to provide temporary relief from intense emotions. Our thoughts often exasperate our emotions. This technique employs the use of thought to consciously alter our emotions to a level that we're better able to cope with. When distracting with thoughts, it's easier to move into wise mind from reasonable mind. And next we have distract with sensations. When you mobilize your body, your mind and emotions respond. Splash your face with cold water or hold an ice cube. Gently snap a rubber band on your wrist. This should not be done to the point of pain. Eat a hot pepper. This is the best strategy to get unstuck when you are very distressed. So in summing up, Wise Mind accepts. With distraction, by deliberately turning your attention away from the crisis, we can distract through A for activities, C for contributing, C for comparisons, E for emotions, opposite emotions, P for pushing away, T for thoughts, and S for sensations. Accepts is for crisis use, distress tolerance. These skills work best if not overused, but saved for a crisis situation. Like most skills, they take practice though. You can practice these skills when you feel any stress. There is no reason to wait till distressed to get that practice in. Be sure to check the video description in the comments below. You'll find a link to the website lesson that accompanies this video. You'll also find links to the handouts and worksheets created to complement this video. And while you're there, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it. Be sure to join us next time for our distress tolerance module, Improve the Moment. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel where we have our entire DBT course now available. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.